I'm not the world. Damien, burn hot. I will never give up, nah give up, must live up. Keep on fighting, keep surviving. I will never give up, nah give up, must live up. Keep on fighting, keep surviving. Come and see them, me know who they are. Them a real wagonist, me see them from far. Every day they eat chop on the corner. Something them a look and them a go call me father. And if a day come me who da chop down. Me no know where this apparel's done. So me know them not real, them are tough like steel. Who da what them feel. I will never give up, nah give up, must live up. Keep on fighting, keep surviving. I will never give up, nah give up, must live up. Keep on fighting, keep surviving. Already journey gets so rough and tough. Give thanks to Jehovah, I feel me come. Never leave his trial by the wayside. He always protect and guide. Some of them will tell you, say them love you, them no mean it. Me know you are dirty, me I tell you, fi go clean it. Me left no for them a frown, some of them a clown. But mine want see we fall down. But I will never give up, nah give up, must live up. Keep on fighting, keep surviving. And I will never give up, nah give up, must live up. Keep on fighting, keep surviving. Come and see them, me know who they are. Them a real wagonist, me see them from far. Every day they eat chop on the corner. Something them a look and them a come call me father. And if a day come me who da chop down. Me no know where this apparel's done. So me know them not real, them are tough like steel. Good at what them feel. I will never give up, nah give up, must live up. No man curse, I'm not the world. Damien, burn hot. I will never give up, nah give up, must live up. Keep on fighting, keep surviving. I will never give up, nah give up, must live up. Keep on fighting, keep surviving. Come and see them, me know who they are. Them a real wagonist, me see them from far. Every day they eat chop on the corner. Something them a look and them a come call me father. And if a day come me who da chop down. Me no know where this apparel's done. So me know them not real, them are tough like steel. Good at what them feel. I will never give up, nah give up, must live up. Keep on fighting, keep surviving. I will never give up, nah give up, must live up. Keep on fighting, keep surviving. Already journey gets so rough and tough. Give thanks to Jehovah, I feel me come. Never leave his trial by the wayside. He always protect and guide. Some of them will tell you, say them love you, them no mean it. Me know you are dirty, me I tell you, fi go clean it. Me left no for them a frown, some of them a clown. But mine want see we fall down. But I will never give up, nah give up, must live up. Keep on fighting, keep surviving. And I will never give up, nah give up, must live up.
Welcome to another edition of Voice of the Diaspora. My special guest today is leader of the People's Movement, Nigel London. And he will be responding to activists, a former member of People's Movement and a former friend, Gino Roman, who called him a hypocrite. This and more as we get into the program. I wish now to welcome my special guest, who is no stranger to any of us, Nigel London, leader of the People's Movement.
Greetings to you, Norman, and of course to those who are viewing. It is certainly an honor and pleasure to always share this platform with you and with your viewing audience. I trust that you can hear me clearly. You can also see me clearly.
Hearing you
so
clearly
that we can
and
have
seeing
what I
you
would.
clearly.
Good. so we can have what I perceive to be a very healthy discussion and focus on what matters most.
And it's always a pleasure to have you, Nigel. I know you're pressed for time. I have to say to my viewers that very many times I call you at the last minute and you would suspend what you're doing to join this program. And this has been consistent over the years. I want my viewers to understand that there are people that I respect in this struggle, tremendous respect, and I don't hold back my words when I say it. Everybody know I'm principled. Everybody know I call people out, but there are people that I have tested and they have proved to me that they're worthy of my respect. And Nigel London and Terence Campbell are two of those people. I will hold a bias at any time as a principled activist. I would make an exception for them. But of course, still the issues must be dealt with, and they have this platform to deliberate on things that are of importance to Guyana. And so I welcome you again, leader of the People's Movement, Nigel London. I want to begin by talking to you or asking you for your input about what is happening in Georgetown, what the government is doing to the Georgetown City Council. And I want to say this, that this matter will be taken very far, because what upsets me, Nigel London, is that this government is taking away streets from the city council, the streets that are under the purview of the city council, making it into public roads, taking it away, reducing the city council, taking away things from the city council, and so on. And the political leadership in the opposition is quiet. This government is snatching things that should cause an uprising. My viewers don't even know about this. I didn't even know about it properly. Oh, it is being treated lukewarm. But I want to give you the opportunity to deliberate on that. And before, let us give our viewers a brief clip of an idea of what we are talking about. Saying that you undermine the party. You shouldn't be talking.
But yeah, so since March since March the 20th, the government, through the Ministry of Public Works, led by Minister Juan Edgel, has been systematically reclassifying Georgetown streets as public roads under the Roads Act, transferring control from the main city council to the central government. The process began quietly with about 22 roads, major streets, and it expanded to another 35 gazetted order. A total of 57 street. Key roads include Regent Street, Robb Street, Camp Street, Vincentian Road, Charlotte Street, Lamaha, and Eastern Highway. On the 27th of March, things escalated dramatically as Mayor Alfred Mentor and several other councillors were barred by the Guyana police force from entering the City Constabulary building on Water Street, a building that the council has long had control over. And so the government is claiming that the Ministry of Works stated that the main city council long neglected these roads. And the Attorney General even went forward in saying that the government will move to take vacant spaces within the city, accusing the main city council of decades of incompetence and neglect. For the mayor's part, of course, the mayor called it hostile takeover, political intimidation, and national bullyism. And I know as we come to talk about this issue, I know MP, you would have made some statement.
Nigel London, leader of the People's Movement, talk to the Guyanese world. Give your view about what is happening in this situation.
I'm grateful that you've chosen, Norman, to shed further light on this matter. But I would be even more grateful if you would permit me to help Guyanese to understand, and not just Guyanese, but people who have an interest in our nation. Why Georgetown now? You see, the PPP had a dress rehearsal in a place called Region 10 and Linden. And in Region 10, since the general and regional elections were held in 2025, the PPP proved to all of Guyana that through one man named Dwight John and through the cooperation of many others in Region 10, they were prepared to do what was entirely unheard of, which is to have region function for the last 5 months without a regional chairman or a vice chairman. So the individuals who have a significant issue about the streets of Georgetown and roads in the city being wrestled from the mayor and city council and coming now under the control of the Ministry of Public Works. Their roads, we're speaking here to a situation whereby the life of people in Region 10 is severely affected. Not roads here. This is where you have no regional chairman. There is no administrator in Region 10 at this time, in reference to the Regional Democratic Council's chairman. Now, if the PPP could, for 5 months or 6 months, cause there to be, in such a critical region and a critical town calling, and no leadership in terms of a chairman, and there was no backlash of significance, I've been quiet, then I started speaking, and I'm saying to people, how could you allow one man to do this? But it's important to note that once they got through with Linden, remember, Linden normally votes against the PPP. The next step would become Georgetown, because Georgetown is not led by a PPP-led mayor, chosen mayor. And so it was easy to do because in Region 10, they saw and they proved that people who are called leaders do not intend to lead when it's required or when a fight is required. They lead when they could talk and they can hide behind screens, but they don't lead when it's time to get out and fight and possibly be arrested if that's the case. So I'll now jump to Georgetown
Yeah.
with individuals understanding why it's so easy to do. It's easy because the mayor and city council of Georgetown for years have been neglected, for years have been disrespected. And this is just the zenith of it, the highest point, in that the same administration, which we call the government, that should provide funding and actually pay for certain rates and taxes for buildings and so on, refuse to do anything, refuse to subsidize and give money to the city, and then turn to say, you're failing. You're not maintaining the roads and so on, so we take it. This happened because there are many councillors in the city of Georgetown who do not want to suffer the inconvenience of being arrested. Guyana has become a unique place, Norman, where politicians don't like prison or lockup. Nelson Mandela built his legacy on being arrested. Forbes Burnham had challenges. Cherry Jagan, of course we know Cherry. Janet was arrested. But something has happened to us here, where the new culture is, my suit must be clean, my hands must be clean, my AC must be on, I must drive in a fancy vehicle, and I must never suffer the inconvenience of even having to sit on a bench to answer for fighting for my people. That's why they could do the stupid things they do now, because there's no resistance of merit. Because for them to take 57 streets on roads, and people just talk, knowing that this is the death of the APNU and PNC, anything you call it. Because when you take away a council's ability to govern streets like Regent Street, the main street in Georgetown, the mecca of business in Guyana, you take that away from them. What happens now is the city has no control over the main business area in Guyana, because Guyana is a capitalist nation at this moment. It is led by capital, which is money. Those who have money run the city, run the nation. Although in our constitution, we are labeled as socialists. People don't even know that in Guyana. That's actually written in our constitution. And Guyanese don't know that because they already teach them in school. We have politicians that also say we don't know what the Guyana is a socialist nation. as in a constitutional description, that is. But we are now capitalists under the PPP. And when the wealthy rule your nation, the poor shall always suffer. And that includes municipalities that are impoverished. It includes townships or other areas, communities, NDCs that are impoverished, and it includes even the likes of me and other people who may be considered to be impoverished. If you're impoverished, I promise you, when the wealthy rule you, you will suffer.
When the wealthy rule you, you will suffer. Look, I understand that what is happening is as a result of the upcoming local government elections, which the opposition is not talking much about at the moment, but the PPP is working assiduously to 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 win that local government elections overall. And these are strategies including what is happening in the city council at the moment, what's happening to the city council, sorry, in terms of the 57 streets or more, and the PPP wanting to gain control of Georgetown. That's a strategy uh, uh, to embolden their chances at the local government election. What are your thoughts on that?
And my thought, Norman, is that controlling street doesn't make you control people. And so taking authority or taking control and just wrestling from the mayor and city council, 57 roads and streets doesn't mean they have the ability to win a local government election through that.
No, but
Elections are one, there should be one, I should say.
they're arguing that the mayor and city council are not doing anything to beautify the city, to maintain the street, to keep the place clean and so on. So they're using that to say to the people, we are going to take this and we are going to develop it and we're going to make this city into a garden city because the council is incompetent. So that in itself is a
I
strategy.
understand.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I understand that number, but I'm speaking to that strategy.
Yes, go ahead.
Elections are won by votes. If we call a constitutional democracy or democratic nation, there's only one way to win an election, and that's through the majority ruling in terms of voting. Now, why
Yes.
am I saying that? If if Guyanese, who are supposed to be highly intelligent people, can observe that the government, the administration, as it should be rightly called, because we govern by an opposition as well, they choose to refuse to give the city council the money that they deserve. This is not a grant or an aid. This, I'm speaking again to paying for government buildings and state buildings. They refuse to pay anything. Now, if they do that, and Guyanese can observe that, how could you refuse? You starve me of fun. You choke the air, the breath of economic existence out of me. Then time I'm failing. Anybody with common sense to say that I'm not going to vote for PV in this election because you are spiteful, you're disgraceful, and you're wicked. So that you could plant all the trees you want. Common sense would say that if I can observe somebody who's been so unjust in dealing with my council, I will not vote for you. Now, who would vote for the PP in this regard? If they take the streets and roads and decide to beautify them, there'll be a few people who will vote for them who would gain contracts, as it's called, who would get machinery to dig drains, whose trucks will be involved in moving slush and mud. The few of them may vote for them. But people in Guyana have common sense and they understand what's at play here. So I see this as a loss in that they are now victimizing people and they're now showing that they are prepared to undermine a legally, lawfully, and justly elected body so that they, that's the kind of speech that must come from our, it's not a case about you have a free day. If you're not going to do what is right, there'll be nothing called an election here because you would not be allowed to function as ordinarily as you do. That's what a leader should be saying. What, how can it make sense for there to be nothing done to sanitize a list that everyone knows is bloated? Nothing is being done to ensure that we've got biometrics included in our elections. And well, Claudius, you have to change the laws to do that. Fine. Have they said it? Have they met to even have one conversation about any electoral reform in terms of biometrics? No. So we talking about local government election now. How are we going to local government election? We don't even have regional chairman in region 10. So we just run down the
It's
road.
sad.
We have no regional chairman, and then you go on and say we can now vote for mayor.
It's unfortunate, and these issues got to be addressed. And I'm glad that you are speaking out today, because in political circles at the moment, it is being said that you recently approach, because the Ministry of Public Works is the ministry that is moving to snatch these streets from the municipality and so on. And it is being said right now in political circles and trickle down to
Mhm.
ordinary men and women in the streets, that you have approached Bishop Edgil for a contract and said to him, you need this contract because he should give it to you because you are brothers in the faith. This is actually being said. Today it's being said. And I said, listen, and I mean this. I've been a political activist for 30 years. It means that I've been fighting the PPP for 30 years consistently. And when these things come to me, I rationalize. And I don't believe a word. I'll tell you why I don't believe a word. Because I know the PPP's modus operandi. Anybody that the PPP give $10 to, or give them some chicken and chips to eat, they have to pledge allegiance to the PPP. They have to make it known in the public, and further, they have to never, ever venture to say a bad word about the PPP publicly. You, right now, you are calling the PPP out. And it is nonsense. It begs the question, why is
Oh
it
my
that
God.
people do? I am telling you, in political circle today, I'm not making it up. It is being said that you approached Bishop Edgil and asked him for a contract, and said, we are religious brothers, so you have to look out for me and so on. I don't believe it, and that is
No
why I'm
man.
saying it on this program, because I waited for you to deal with this Georgetown City Council issue. I waited for you to speak out and not to show any softness in relation to thinking like, I can't say this or I can't say that about the government because wherever. You didn't do that. I'm convinced, and I wish this to be dispelled today, because you stand up as you've always been standing up. Some were of the view he's gone quiet because he's compromised and all that. You have returned, and I'm happy that you have returned. Your point.
Listen, listen.
This is serious
Although I don't believe in
business.
April
This is
Fool's
serious
Day. No,
business.
no. Although I don't believe in our Fool's Day. They should have asked me this on the 1st of April. Because it's beyond me. No, man, listen, man. In all seriousness. And I think my father helped me with this in a very, very unique but significant way. Now, because of the relationship me and you share, I'll respond to you. But had it been other people, I'll do what my father would said, which is this.
Thank you.
Anyone who broaches me with anything that doesn't make any sense, that is absolutely ludicrous and way beyond or beyond the reach of my character, I won't waste my time to respond to it because it's just very stupid to do. And who in their right mind would think that I would approach, of all people, Edgy? There's nothing bishop like about Edgy. A bishop, according
Wow.
to scripture, has to meet certain criteria. He's not a bishop. He's a man who leads a business called a church. He's not a bishop. He doesn't meet the criteria of being one. So let's get that straight first of all. I don't refer to him as bishop anything. Let me put it this way, Norman. The PPP and all their agents and me and we breathe air of different,
Quality.
I don't want to hurt the chemistry people who don't look at, okay. But densities.
Densities.
Where I live, where I breathe, the air is thin. Where they dwell, the air is thick. So in essence, I'm on a mountain and they're in a valley. So we don't meet in certain places at all.
at all. Do you
To put
believe
it
that Bishop Edgel
plainly,
is an immoral and corrupt person?
I believe that it is first of all being polite to call him a person based on his conduct. When a man
Wow.
is going to tell a nation, when a man is going to say, and a creature is going to say to people,
Wow.
that if his savior, not mine, if his savior were alive today, he would vote for the PPP, it disqualifies him from me regarded as a person to me. He's a creature of opportunity. So to tell, how could I
Creature
form
of
words to say to Edgil?
opportunity.
We are brothers of religious faith. What religious faith? We share two different belief systems. Mine is that if you do not stand for the poor and needy, if you are unstained and unblemished from the world, then you are a wicked person. So I'm not a Christian. And you driving down these roads, I be in my corner as
Well,
quiet as ever
I
sometimes,
am
and you bring out the
happy.
worst
I
in
am
me.
happy you're going down these roads because now the
No,
views
Angela,
will
no,
be dispelled.
no, but
A
how could he be a brother of
creature,
mine, Norman, and we two different people?
the leader of the people's movement said on Voice of the Diaspora today that Minister of Public Works, Bishop Edgil, is a creature of opportunity that should not even be seen or be mentioned as human to an extent. Now, let me ask my viewers something, and all those who are watching, including because I strongly believe that these things are being peddled by Bishop Edgel themselves and giving it to people to say it, to reduce you, because they know that you cannot be compromised. And I'm happy, I'm saying to my viewers today that I got integrity, and we're going to be talking about integrity more down in the program. I got integrity, and when I say to you as an activist that a lot of people don't like because I call a spade a spade. When I say it to
Correct.
you, when I say it to you, that I know Apostle is not compromised. I know that these things, what they're saying about him, is not true. And I know the moment will come when I will stand by my brother, because the worst thing you can do in this struggle is allow people to castigate a brother and be silent. I will never do it. It has happened to me. And people who said that they had me, that I helped, that I catapult into positions, they turned their backs and said not a single word. You understand? And I'm saying today, this program, so many people are tuning in, Apostle. And I'm passionate today. I don't care what anybody say. Right? I will stand up for the people I believe in. You have walked this road a long time with me, And I know you got
Yeah.
integrity, and I told them that. And what I do whenever I have these discussions with people, I want to bring it to the public because that's me. I want to
See, what,
expose it. You understand? And
what
I'm
you should do,
glad,
Norman, yeah,
before you say anything, and I'll
sorry.
let you speak, I am glad that the Creator allowed this moment today. Because I did not talk to you about this program or tell you
No,
anything about this. And I swear on my
no.
life, I did not give you no heads up or nothing. You know what I wanted to determine? Though I knew the truth, I want the truth to be proven, even to me, that you will not hesitate to condemn wickedness. And today, that view is dispelled. Everybody and anybody who is peddling that, people will laugh at them today. Go ahead, Apostle.
Thank you, Norman. It may be even more refreshing if you were to bring some of those people on air. I'm not even out there, but just in my cellular space, and let them say to you or to me what they're saying to you, because that's my nature. Because of how I function in life, I don't have the breathing room and the mental space for nonsense. So I cut things short very quickly. So let's be in the same room, let's be in the same space, and tell me that I went to ask Edric for a contract. Do that, and then we can move on. But they wouldn't do it because it is known even by Barajagdio that he would not send Edric to speak to me. Bart would never tell Edgy to come and talk to me.
Wow.
Never. Neither did Irfan. Because we, again, I say, the air I breathe is thin, the air he breathes is thick. So we're not going to ever, he can't get it to where I have to talk. That's the first problem we have. And anyone who is going to sit and allow atrocities and injustices to be meted out to people and be silent because if I speak, I will lose my position, you are disqualified for me to describe as a human being to me. I don't play with that. And more so, why would I have to approach anyone for a contract in the name of my faith? That is whoredom. And that's the classic description of religion across the world. A whoredom is, and prostitution of one's integrity is a dangerous thing. There's no price that can be paid for my integrity. And there's no money that can be given to me for me to be silent. Worse off, I don't need it. I was never born in poverty. So money has never fazed me. I was never born a poor person. So what can be dangled in my face to make me feel as if, oh, you need to get this? All right. So let's get that clear, please. So
Well, I'm glad. I'm
I'm
glad.
grateful.
Thank you so much, Apostle, for that reassurance and for the fact. And I did not question it, and that is why I brought it out. We're talking about religious leaders being compromised. We're talking about religious leaders being compromised. I'm serious today because this tempo got to be upped, Apostle, and it has to be
Yeah.
upped because you know why? People believe that it has to be an elections for us to fight this struggle as with the passion required, and it will get really hot. Let me say this to you: there is a belief that Irfan Ali, the president of Guyana, is moving to control churches across Guyana because churches are comprised of primarily black people, and is moving. Recently, we saw a Pastor Exton Clark inviting President Ali. I want your view on this. We didn't discuss this beforehand either, and I want your view on this. Pastor Exton Clark invited the president to speak at a Seventh-day Adventist forum that was of Caribbean magnitude, in my own words. It was not just a local
Hmm.
church service. You understand?
Right.
And he, in his utterances publicly, it was taped, it was streamed via social media and everything. He praised President Ali and went on to say that he spoke about prophetic revelations about Ali's building of roads and digging of drains and that kinds of stuff. It is like it's prophecies like God brought Irfan Ali. It was only left for Pastor Exton Clark to say on the pulpit that Irfan Ali is the reincarnation of Jesus Christ. I'm not making it up. Right? And let me say this to you. It is alleged that Pastor Clark is on the payroll of Irfan Ali. And you said something earlier in terms of Bishop Edghill that you don't breathe the same air. You don't breathe the same air. Pastor Clark is choosing to breathe the same air of a convicted criminal turned president. A man with 19 fraud charges. A man whose first arrest and being charged was for stealing a bicycle.
He's not convicted.
He wasn't convicted, correct. He was
Right.
charged. I should have been convicted, but he was protected. I
Correct.
stand corrected in that sense. Thank you for that. But this is a president that says he's a Muslim and his actions and his work has nothing to do with Islam. They're immoral people, they're corrupt people, they are racist people. And I think it's only Pastor Everton Clark Pastor Exton Clark, sorry, I'm passionate. I make mistakes when I'm passionate. Pastor Exton Clark, I think he's one of the only pastors in Guyana that ignores that. And there are others, and we'll get to them another time. And we don't have much time. But I'm saying this. It is immoral, it is wicked, it is abhorrent for a religious leader to foist upon his faithful flock because they depend on his guidance, to foist upon them a government that defended those and protected those who murdered the innocent Adriana Young. It is wicked. And Pastor Exton Clark got somebody to post on my page today a long intellectual response to what I posted in his defense. I don't care about Pastor Exton Clark. Is the activist talking now. They are wicked people, and some people will sell Jesus Christ that they follow for money. They are worse than Judas. They're modern day Judases. So I want you to give your view, if you may, Apostle, on this whole issue of Irfan Ali, the president, trying to infiltrate the churches across Guyana for support at local government election and onward.
Well, Norman, he is not trying. He succeeded in doing so.
Wow.
Because if he had he been trying, then the efforts would have been more significant. But when they can walk on stages and pulpits, platforms all across this nation, regardless of their record of their conduct, and what is even more glaring to me is the fact that in many instances, most, if not all, I am not allowed to enter, more so to speak in any one of those places. But they would have persons of undeniably clear, wicked character. So they're saying, in essence, to people that a man who fights for justice and righteousness is deemed less holy than a deported pedophile, than one who was accused of raping a little girl and sodomizing her, than one who has been, the court, not the people, the court said that he was eligible based on evidence to answer to 19 fraud charges. And Exton Clark said that that's a man of integrity. That's a man of significance, a man of distinct character. You see, what makes Guyanese uncomfortable is that we were not for quite a while. On the bottom we were, and that's why I talk about for Bonner anywhere I go. Nobody could make me speak ill about Bonner, because Bonner was one who caused me to be an independent thinker. He fostered that in people. You had a right to think and to believe and understand. If you observe the attitude of the Adventists, for example, Norman, where they would bring Irfan Ali, who's known to be Muslim, in an Adventist space, when the Adventists say to you that if you don't follow the 10 commandments, you go to hell. And most, if you don't keep the commandments, even worse, you go to hell. The Sabbath, we go to hell even more. Does Irfan do that? So how do you put him on the stage and accredit him with holiness because of his office? It's important to take note of that position, because the principle involved here, where righteousness or right standing is based on societal status and not moral values or spiritual standards. It's dangerous. So the higher I rank in society, be it by wealth or position, I am considered in certain circles eligible of standing in a holy place. Really? So the poor man has no position among you then. But let me go further, Norman. What Irfan understands is what I was saying for quite a while. It takes him a while to get things, but he gets it after a while. And Bart also gets it quicker. I was chirping, shouting, hollering with Granger and others. Hey, Guyana is 55% Christian. 55% of our population is deemed to be Christian. I hope that somebody gets this today because the PP got it already. For the PPP to win any election, be it local government, general, regional, or anything else, including the last one that we had in 2025, the churches had to vote for them. They could never get a two-third majority unless the church goes on their side. Important to take note of that. So if they are able to get the leaders of the churches to support them, the church or any religious space is called a space of influence. The one in authority influences those who follow. And I shudder to believe that Exton could be so irresponsible to have Afron speak to the youths of the Adventist church, not the elderly, the young people, the pathfinders and those, the younger ones. Because this is where you're going to have a generational shift in ideology in the church, which is that we don't abide by the 10 commandments, because the 10 commandments said, "You must have no other God before me." That's commandment number one. Who is Afron's God? Who's Barrett's God? Do we all serve the same God? We have to ask these questions, uncomfortable as though they may be. We have to ask them. Though they may be, you have to ask them. Because the law of this country, the Constitution, permits us to practice and propagate, to speak out and spread our religious convictions, which must include, therefore, prohibitions. What are you not allowed to do? In Irfan's faith, it's called haram. In the Christian circle, it's called sin. And in both circles, you're not supposed to do what Egerton Clark did or
Correct.
the Adventists did. Nowhere.
Correct.
Neither should you do what your friend did, because you're not allowed to do so. But what we have is a de-escalation and a dilution of faith and an escalation of opportunistic behaviors. That's what you have in our country. I close by saying the love of money is the root of all kinds of evil.
Thank you so much,
That's why it must
uh,
shadowed by evil.
Nigel London. Thank you so much for that input. I want to, before we get to the final topic, I want you to briefly comment, because I'm trying to get the family, the father and mother of Amar Jones, who was brutally shot down at Linden. There has been no justice for Amar to date. The shooters, although known, have not been apprehended. There is a culture at Linden of gangs that the police do not care about. It's black people, children, so they're left to their own devices. You understand, to do whatever they have to do to fall foul of the law, to be jailed, or to create havoc in their communities, to drive fear into the people of their communities and so on. This is chaos under the PPP government.
Yeah.
But Amar was shot, was murdered, shot and killed in broad daylight at Linden. He was not a known criminal. He was not, from what we understand, involved in any gangs or anything. He worked. He had a daughter that he was taking care of, a baby daughter that he was taking care of. He was a hard-working man. As a matter of fact, he was in his work vehicle when he was cornered and brutally murdered. His family, his mother and father, I am told, are crying to this day, and I'm trying my best to get them on the program tomorrow. The police, I spoke with the mayor last night of Linden, Dominic Blair, and he said he's pursuing it. The police would have said that they are pursuing it, but it has been a while, it has been months. And the only person that was arrested was his child mother, that did not pull the trigger or had no gun on her. We want let us on. So it is a situation where the police would have arrested someone that they think was a part of the conspiracy, but they have left the shooters to walk scot-free. Give us your view on this.
Norman, my view is pretty simple. If the police are acting on it by now, there should have been a wanted bulletin for person of interest. The least you could have done is say this is a person of interest. Uh, but what has happened is that there's been an infiltration of our young African men. I would call it political infiltration among them. And that is that if you're free to do whatever you want as long as you support us. Because at some point in time, you may require your services to do harm to your own people. That's the bottom line. And that's the harsh, cold, stark, dangerous reality under which we function. But it behoves men of strength and a certain caliber to stand in our communities and fight to restore order. And that is sadly lacking. So this goes beyond police to me. Because I know that there's certain times in Linden, I don't know many other part of Guyana, in Linden, 15, 20, 30 years ago, that would not have happened. And even if it happened, you wouldn't walk out of Linden just like that. Especially if you touch it, and we can speak in our vernacular. If you touch a youth man that really cool, you're not going anywhere. You can't pass Bamia because only one way out. Neither can you pass Rockstone. And if you try to hit the trails, we know Wisma too well for you to get way through any trail. So what has happened to us now is that persons have been made to think that if you can simply sell your soul for a $1, $2, $3, or $4 million contract, then you are good enough to be called a PPP, as they put it. And once you call that, then you have access to certain individuals and say, listen, I just did this. I need a pass to get to Georgetown. Oh, cool. That's the world in which we live. But it's not just Amar, because Keon Fudgenay was shot. Where is justice for him? Where's justice for the other young fella, Ronaldo? How long would it take for their parents to their relatives to feel a sense, at least just have the perception that justice has been served in their part? It hasn't happened because Linden has become the iPass of the PPP. And the iPass, to some extent, of many political parties. We just survive. In Region 10 and Linden, whatever happens to you, all happens to you, man. They just talk and then that's it. But we have to stand and we have to protect ourselves. I will say further on this matter, Norman, that when you have responsible leadership, your community becomes a little different. Meaning that if we know that there are gangs in our community, responsible leaders will weed them out. You don't cower, you don't play. You ensure that up and down the ladder, throughout our communities, we go into certain places, as I would do, and engage young men as I would, and let them understand what the order is. That certain things are happening around me. Even some people who are classified as gang members, you have to interact with them and let them know that listen, there's certain things you just would not do because we're not about that life.
Yes, yes,
That's what you need in our
Yeah,
town.
I agree. Yeah, agree. Certain lines shouldn't be crossed. They must know and so
No,
on.
don't cross them.
I want to talk. We are now literally 29 minutes 2 seconds into the program. I think we will finish before the hour point. I know you took time from your busy schedule. You were at work and you took time to come on this program and so on. I want to talk to you about General Roman, who is a political activist that was quite close to you for some time. He claimed that he was an executive member of the People's Movement. He claimed that you tried to expel him. He called you a hypocrite. He has leveled accusations that you slighted the, the party of Darwin Best and B-Man, who we know popularly as B-Man. Um, you undermine them and cut them and so on. And he spoke out in a way against you that surprised a lot of people that know you and know your relationship that you had with him. I want to go to this clip before you respond, and we take it from there. I'm so passionate I can't even see my screen. I'm blinded by rage, Apostle. I'm sorry. I apologize. Saying that you undermine the party You shouldn't be
I was a
talking
minor.
because you should be the last to talk about
No matter with them.
my
You want me
leader. You undermine our
I
party.
can,
How do you respond to that?
I can spend another program talking about them.
About what?
I can
About the
spend.
people's movement?
I was the secretary. I was the founder member of the People's Movement. Whoever is telling you that, right? I one of the main founders of the People's Movement. I was the secretary, and they arbitrarily removed me. Yes, there was no democracy. Why, whoever is talking nonsense. Then I can put them on the program. Tell them to come on the program to talk about it. Then we're going to tell them the history. I got all the notes and
So,
all things. We
so you
stood.
say Nigel London was a part of removing you in such a way?
Nigel London is one of the biggest hypocrites you can ever talk about. Look, he destroyed that relationship he had with VPAC and Amanza, the two of them. They isolated VPAC and destroyed the unity that they were creating. I know the VPAC boys. I talked to them, Bailey and me, a personal friend. And he, more than 30 years ago, me and Bailey were on television on Channel 67, more than 20 years ago. I know Bailey before he ever even dream of getting in contact with these guys. And Nigel London undermined that movement and destroyed it. One nonsensical. Bring him on the program the next time. Let me just debate and discuss it. They try to expel
But
me
but
from
but,
the
but
movement.
what I know about Nigel, he's not here to defend himself. What I know of
Yeah, yeah,
Nigel
but
is
that's why I
he's a
said to
leader.
him,
He's a
bring
leader of
him
integrity. And this is the first time I'm hearing
leader.
this. He's a leader of
I don't know what you
integrity.
call it. I don't
I,
know your
so
definition.
so you never
I don't
came out
know.
publicly and stated why you left.
I don't understand your definition of integrity. Here, a man can't tell you that he's honest and sincere. He has to prove it, right? He can tell you that, but you gotta prove it. What integrity he got when they have an illegal document that the three political groups, right? They sign a pact, and that pact that then they sign a pact that you take turns to go to parliament, and they cut out that group completely, and the matter is in court. Are you talking about integrity?
They agreed.
They
They
don't have
agreed to
any.
a pact. They agreed to a pact. They didn't really
Yes,
done any
yes,
official signing.
yes. They agreed to a pact, and then they reneged on it. Amanza and Nigel London, reneged on it, and up to today, they should come on the program and let the boys from VPAC tell you about what happened. They can't just hide behind that and then snipe at people like me. He expelled me. Look, I was a campaign
So
manager
you were
for the
expelled from the
local
people's
government.
movement. What?
We were expelled for what? They asked me to be expelled. Sorry to use that word. Me, a little Trump up people, them, then my God, they couldn't even bring, you know, they couldn't even get one. Didn't get one seat. Nigel London didn't stand at the last local government election because he said people were not going to vote for him. I I was the campaign manager. If you go to GCOM, you will see that we have a candidate, the first and only time that it took part in an election with the local government election last year. And the candidate was Terence Harris that lived at Farm Village on the east bank of Essequibo. Unfortunately, Terence and Nigel never come down here to campaign for us, and none of them there. What a big mouth they're talking nonsense. I don't have the time for them. They don't have any grassroots support, so I waste my time with them. You know?
Quite a mouthful there by someone that you were closely associated with. These are to anyone serious accusations that questions your integrity, that questions your integrity on a serious basis. And so I will give you the opportunity to retort, extensively, as long as you wish or as short as you wish. The floor is yours, Nigel
Norman, what, what did I do to you? You started edging, now you come with dinner. What have I done to deserve this, brother? I thought I normally treat you well, man. What have I done to deserve this, Norman?
Well,
Listen,
it's politics, and you are a politician. So
I'm described as one for some odd reason. I don't think I fit the bill because I just process differently. In the case of Gina, I would excuse him because of his age. It has to be that he's forgotten that there is something in our era called technology, smartphones, emails, text. You see, back in the day, Jenna didn't know what a text message was. But now there's something called text messages. There are voice notes. There's so many things. They're recorded meetings where the video recordings of meetings held. And why am I saying all these things? Because Jenna knows where all of the evidence lies. But let me put you on the spot because I'm not the interviewer, but I'll do to at this time. I called you, Norman, last week. No, let the viewers know how I am because they need to
No,
understand
no,
how we
no, no,
function.
no. Good,
Okay,
good,
fine.
good, good. Because I'll have to admit it too, right?
You see, all right. So let me interview you now. I called you last week. I said, Norman, I have Jenna on the phone here because I'm inviting Jenna to my platform for him to say the things he said on your show. Tell the audience what happened, please.
No,
This is
you
your
know,
time. We tell
I
people it's
was,
your time. This is your show.
I was out, right? And I was coming from a place on the coast outside of London, a place bright. The day was wonderful. It was a bright and somewhat warm day. So I went to the seaside in a place called Brighton. And so when you called me, I was heading for the train. I was actually in the train station, right? So, so I know Jenna said to me that we have to do more programs and, he's accessible to me and so on. Nigel, I believe that when we tried to get a three-way call with Jenna, I I thought I heard Jenna scrambling under the bed, right? Jenna, like you run under his bed. But he refused to answer. He refused to have the conversation. And it is, why the fear? Jenna has never called me after then, He has written on my
Neither
page,
me.
he has said things and so on, but he has never called me to say anything. And it's not good because if you're going to level accusations, you should face the gun. You should be man enough to say, you know what, I can come on I can talk. And this wasn't, we weren't asking him to come on a program like this one.
You're
We
supposed
were
to be the moderator. That's all. You're supposed to be the one who sat there. Let me tell you what happened, Norman. Because before you got on before I did a three-way call to add you to the call, I created a live platform as you have here, a studio,
yeah.
a broadcast. I sent the link to Jenna and then I called him.
Okay.
I said, Jenna, when he answered, he said, hello, brother. I said, man, how you call me brother? And you say that I'm a hypocrite. A hypocrite can't be a brother. So based on the things you said on Norman show, you don't call me a brother. What I did is I have a stream created. So you can come and tell the audience the things I did to you and the people
Oh,
who went
okay.
to
I
the done.
didn't
You
know
know,
that.
Jenna
I
said,
didn't know
Right, you wanted on the phone then. Jenna said, brother, no, brother, why do you have to get to that? Why do you have to get to that, brother? We don't have to do it. I said, how many you have to do it? If you I heard the clip I was driving. You said to Norman that he should invite me at any time. Bring me on the show. I said, I'm giving you a chance. I'm giving you a whole show for yourself. He said, no, 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 brother, we don't have to listen to these things, man. Why we have to do those things? So I said, okay. Then he said, but even if I come on the show, you will be the host, so you control the platform. I said, okay, problem solved. I will call somebody. And I said, who best to call? The man who interviewed you. So I'll call Norman and add Norman to the call and ask Norman to please facilitate this broadcast where he'll be interviewing the two of us and you'll have the whole day to tell the people about me. When I call you, you know what happened. Jenna disappeared.
Jenna beat out.
That
Jenna.
says quite a bit. But on a more serious note, Norman, yet again, let people understand, and I would have you understand, that it takes a lot out of me to descend into an unprincipled place addressing an unprincipled man. It's not a good thing to do. Because number one, Jenna in the clip you just showed incriminated himself and destroyed his reputation without even knowing it. And I'll tell you why. He said to you, I didn't say this, these are his words, that he is a founder member, which he's not. A founder member of the People's Movement. Did he not say that?
Yeah, he did say that.
Yes. So here's the question. How can you be a founder member of the People's Movement and a candidate for win? Of what ilk are you? Because the People's Movement was a part of the general elections through a coalition. Why was he not with the Ford Guyana movement? So are you telling me that one who said he's a general secretary of the People's Movement, a founder member of the People's Movement,
Campaign manager.
was campaign manager? He's now with Win doing the same election campaign or not the election campaign. What does that tell you about the person's character? Worse than that, on the 4th of July, for example, Jenna was written to and invited to have a meeting with the leadership of the People's Movement because Jenna was campaigning for, and here I must say, gloves off, Azadin, you will deal with him. Because I will tell Norman here, no, and blame Norman, because once you invite me down a certain road, I'll go there with you. Jenna went too far because he knows better. So when I say now the PPP lackeys will grab clips from here and will expose Win, not Jenna,
Wow.
and they'll have to leave with him, not me. Because you took it there. Now, in our meetings with VPAC and all the rest, I took Jenna to Bess and those guys.
Okay.
First half conversations. All right? And it was all about how do we as one people get together, unite across political divides to deal with this disgraceful group of leaders called the PPP. How do we deal with them? A criminal clan. Can we drop all, release all, and just get together? We had many conversations. Jenna was insisting that we should go with Win. They didn't have a name. It was with Mohammed. They didn't have a name. That's how long these things were. And I said to this old man, because he's not young, listen to me, Jenna. I said to him very clearly that I have met on numerous occasions with representatives and agents of Win, even leadership of that group. They didn't have a name then. And if there's one thing I'm not going to do, is allow any human being to believe that this creature here, this man here, bows to you or bows to anything you think you could do if we agree on principle. If I said you, Norman, we're going to do something together today, we're going to stand in X place today, we're going to do this today, and you even hint at me that you don't have to submit to principle, I don't deal with you. Never will I deal with you. If you show me that you are disorganized and you're unprepared to follow certain protocols and order, I don't deal with you either. And I said to Jenna, look at how many times I've met with people and you cannot even have a commitment of structure. I said, the People's Movement was formed in 2020. Jenna was nowhere around. In Linden, at the Riverside is when I spoke to this, then came home and did the broadcast. I said, today, we have the People's Movement. We shall therefore advance the cause to fight, where the people move Guyana forward. Jenna was nowhere around. Indeed, he was one who was among those who came at the outset of this thing, and the onset of the movement. But Norman, you know what is frightening and alarming? When Jenna Rahman was serving as the General Secretary of the People's Movement, Jenna Rahman was also campaigning for Win. And I said to him that this is unacceptable. Further to that, Jenna Rahman was given or had the forms that you have to fill, the candidate forms, and the forms for to be nominated. Where you have to have X number of signatures, a certain number of signatures before you qualified. Jenna took the People's Movement forms, the People's Movement candidate, and gave that to Win.
What?
That posed a challenge for us in Region 3 because on Region 2, the young lady has told him, take my name off, I'm no candidate because I'm supposed to be with the People's Movement. How you put me with Win? But it was too late. So we had to be scrambling for signatures, as they call it, because Jenna took ours and gave it to another party. Now tell me, if he was so committed to the People's Movement, how did Win end up with our candidate and with our signatures?
That's treacherous. That's treacherous.
Okay. Well, let's go further then. Further to that. I, before connecting with Amanza Walton Desir and Darwin Best, was deemed to be the presidential candidate of the People's Movement.
Yeah.
Jenna never once, not even in a minute, endorsed, though he was the general secretary, he said, and or proclaimed me to be the prospective president of or candidate. You know what Jenna did? While being in the People's Movement, Azid Mohammed will be president. I'm with Mohammed.
Wow.
How does that amount to being honest and decent? I still didn't berate him publicly, but for me, the last straw came when General Rahman decided that he refuses to enter into any form of coalition or a pact or an arrangement with Amanza Walton Desir. And he was extremely upset that I said that the People's Movement, not just me, we have a 16-member council. He knows that. And the National Executive Council of the People Movement voted that we will not go with Win because of disorganized. Jenna said that they're not organized. They have no structure.
He said that. He said that to me too.
Okay, fine. So I said, how could you tell me people are disorganized? They have no structure. They don't even have, they never held a forum to choose a leader. But you want me to go there? So am I a madman to say to you, to listen to you tell me that there is no structure over here? There's hardly any order over here. The one who's supposed to be leader is led. And you want me to go there? When on the other side, we can have a forum where I said more than that. Here's where me will have a problem, and the last straw will be drawn with me and you here. When Azadin Mohammed publicly said that he would not coalesce with anyone, I said, Jinnah, there is no way that is happening with me. Because we've all said we must unite, we must have one. I was the first one to say it. Let's have one massive coalition. I said, you want me to join with somebody who said that he would not unite with somebody else? And the only condition on which we function is if I go under and be subsumed by this thing, this group now with a name. I said, I'm not doing it. Now, I was, of course, knowing how I am, Norman, I said to the Executive Council of the People's Movement, you are free to make a choice. You can vote. If you want to do that, fine. I will just not be a part of it. I shall resign. Because I will not coalesce with anybody who tells me and the people of Guyana that he could do something on his own. If you could win on your own, you don't need me. It's that simple. Jenna knows that. Now, finally, Jenna was told of all of these breaches because we have a code of conduct.
Yeah.
Jenna was invited on more than one occasion to sit before the council and represent his position. He refused to even respond to emails and letters sent to him. That's how disrespectful and unmanly he is. So when a ferret of that nature decides that he's not going to respond to the email, letters, and correspondence sent to him by this group he loves so much, why waste my time? Now, permitting to speak to what he spoke about Bess and VPAC
Yeah, I think you should deal with
and
that.
Francis.
Finally, you should
I
deal with
will.
the whole issue. Yeah.
I shall. I shall.
Clear the air.
I drove from Linden to Georgetown. Me, nobody else. I drove. Amanza lives in Georgetown. Darwin lives in Georgetown. Francis lives on the West Coast. I drove the farthest when they were repairing the highway and these bank roads. So let me tell you how treacherous it was. It took me 4 hours to get to Georgetown. And I sat from 7 p.m. to after midnight with Darwin Best, Francis Bailey, Amanza Walton Desir, an attorney who came to be a scribe of sort, and the one who said he's going to facilitate the meeting, a young pastor from Georgetown. At that forum, I asked Francis Bailey, who had done a live broadcast about me and said so many things, a simple question. And Darwin Best. And the record is there. I have voice. I said to them, first of all, I will not meet with you all unless the meeting is recorded because you lie too much. I don't play games. So if, when a fellow reaches me, say, he's inviting me to meet with Darwin and Francis and others, I say, hold on. The ultimate criterion is this. If the meeting shall be recorded on video and audio, I'll come. If not, I'm not coming anywhere. I don't want minutes. There must be a video recording and an audio recording of my speaking to these people and ask them certain questions. So they agreed. At that forum audience on Norman Brown, I asked Francis Bailey, who was very disparaging and scandalous. I asked him a simple question. Did I, at any point in time, since I interacted with you, have even a single conversation with you about sharing any seat anywhere? You know what Francis said? No. Point number one. But he didn't say it on his show though. Secondly, I asked Darren Best, did I, at any point in time, have a conversation with you and Amanza and Francis about any seat sharing anywhere? You know what Darren Best said? No. So the moderator of the meeting, you see how you only head? The fellow couldn't believe. So I said, how could Francis go and do a broadcast about me? And now in this private room he's saying that we never had a conversation. Norman, we call the thing transcript. There's a transcript of this. I have the audio file of this, and they
So
have it
there
too. They
wasn't
could share it
even
at any
any
point in time.
agreement that there wasn't even any gentleman's
Never.
agreement that
Listen to me,
seats
man.
would be shared.
Norman, they had gentlemen and women, maybe not with me. That's why I said they admitted to it. It's
Wow,
on record that I have
wow.
never talked to them. So I said, hold on. If I never talked to you, how you can tell people that I violated you in some way? When we never talked. Well, Francis, of course. When Francis said, Darwin, tell me that. I said, what is wrong with you? How you could be this grown man, an intellectual of sort, and you now come to an official forum to tell me Darwin told you something when I wasn't even there. Now, I said Darwin, Francis calling him. So you answer Francis. You know, Darwin said that Amanza, Francis, and Darwin were talking in the yard by Bransville. I said, when this happened, though? Long before Amanza left the PNC. That's what they said.
Wow.
I said, now look at these two. Look at these two people who generally want to talk about. So there was never an agreement because I never had a conversation with you.
But this was never said before, and even I was saying like something is wrong. But now you are saying that there had been no. I said there may have been an agreement, a gentleman's agreement. I mean, you didn't sign to anything or whatever. You said, yeah, we can work with it like this. Now you are saying to this program that you asked them. There was no agreement.
When did we have the conversation?
There was no conversation.
When did I
That's what
talk
you
to
were
you?
saying.
I didn't talk to you. So no, I asked the leadership of the people, no, did any one of you represent me in talking to these fellows? They all said no. So when did we have this conversation? And more than that, we were before the press and the public saying that we've signed an agreement to enter the elections as one main or one group.
Yeah.
When the elections were over, it is I who said to the other two principals, listen, elections are over.
Yeah.
We have to have a conversation about how we move forward. I said that because the records
fair.
prove the
That's fair.
same.
That's fair. That's fair.
Okay? I said to Darwin, Best, listen, bro, don't do this. As a man, I don't do this. I don't talk. Any issue you have or would have had, I am coming to Georgetown. We sit with Amanza, the three of us, and we will talk. Hereafter, we shall decide how we move forward.
A
He agreed
principled
to it.
stance.
I went
Principled stance.
Fine. I went to Georgetown. He never showed up. I went to Babis, and then I got some letter from them saying that they have all these issues. I said, how could you as a man, as a grown man, agree to meet me in Georgetown? You never show up, then you send me a letter saying your feelings hurt. Am I dealing with men here? Am I dealing with men? Because you see me, you could fuss and argue that you're from Linden. So you know how we roll it up here.
I know.
And you and I have had big moments where we fire the shots you can fire, and we done that.
We were at it. Yeah, true, absolutely.
Because that's how we grow, Norman.
That's how we grew. Yeah,
we grew up on Lollipop. We grew up on
serious,
Part 1 and
serious
Hurry and them. We grew up on
serious thing.
yeah,
Serious
man.
thing. Yeah.
I said, how can you agree to meet with me? And then you didn't show up. 4 times he never showed up.
So it wasn't
4
once.
times.
It wasn't once. So there was no intention
Man, Norman.
to show up.
And now in the correspondence they sent, you know what they said? We want to meet to decide on the way forward. We want to meet so we could talk about how we're going to share this. It's what original could we make. If you have an agreement, you don't meet to talk about arrangement.
Yeah.
We breathe air at different densities, and that's a problem, I think. I realize it myself. The air I breathe is too thin for some people. Because I'm way up in the stratosphere. When you down in the earth.
So the letter came to talk about sharing the seats after, but obviously it was after the seat was gained. The letter was
Exactly.
sent. What
So
happened
the
after
letter
then?
was sent for us to discuss what are all the possibilities of sharing? Would it be one third, one third, one third?
Yeah,
Would it
yeah.
be two thirds? How would we do it? I'm
Good.
saying to them, and I've said to all and sundry, if you ask me to discuss something, it means there was not a decision made.
Made, yeah.
Okay? So the fact that you're asking for us to have a discussion about this to decide how we go forward, it means nobody ever decided. What you had was what you said probably was a yard conversation by Bransville. And when you talk in the yard, I wasn't there.
Okay.
So that conversation is not existent as far as I'm concerned. I want us to speak exactly to how we're going to move forward. Possibilities are not determined by talk alone. You have to iron them out and then they become decisions. Never happened. So I have been a victim of being too principled because I've said it. We have to decide on how we're going to move since the elections are over. What do we do now? How do we proceed? Francis Bailey and Darwin Best are yet to sit and have this ironed out. What they wanted to do was to say that Amanza has to give to Francis Bailey the position of leader of the list. And I would say here, because there's an audio recording of the same, and I would admonish the young man who facilitated that meeting to do the just thing. You approach me, publish the transcript or
Wow.
publish a report based on that meeting because you're not going to have my name circling around all the time. I give you a lot of grace because of what you are, but don't play with me. Stop having people's names float around here when you know the truth. I will share with you as I run, Norman, what I said to Francis Bailey in the presence of Amanza Walton Desir, that young man, another attorney, and Darwin Bess. I said to Francis Bailey, you cannot even lead me anywhere and at any time. You are disqualified from leading me as a man. Because if as a man you're going to go before a screen and tell the world that Amanza has hurt you, so you're not going to tell people what she told you before she left the PNC, you can't lead even my dog. Because men don't do that. Women do. Women may try that, but you're a man. And when a man who's a woman hurt your feelings, you decide you go before a screen and tell her secrets, if you want to call it that, you are disqualified because I said to him, what if an Ali calls you tonight and say, listen, we're about to go and attack Maduro. And you remember Parliament for FGM, for the Guyana movement. And it's supposed to be kept under wraps. Nobody knows but you. Of course, he called members of Parliament and say, hey, we gotta act now. Let's go and attack Venezuela, whatever it is. You are the one who would now come on the screen and get mad and tell people, I can tell you what, Irfan came to me and Irfan said this. I said, you can't lead me because you can't handle confidential information. You're disqualified. And that is my position. That's my position to be held
So
for eternity unless he
just as
changes.
how you would have sat on a program publicly with Jenna to clarify things, would you were saying you would sit on a program with Francis Bailey and Darwin Best to speak to the world about what really transpired, to
Hey,
confront them.
now,
You were saying that.
now you're going off, you're jumping off Kitro Falls because guess what? Remember what happened with Jenna when I told you to
No,
moderate the
I'm just
program?
asking you the question.
Francis, okay. All
I'm
right,
sorry.
Francis was, no, Francis, I'm
Would you
telling you
be
what happened.
willing to
Francis
do that?
was on a show. Always. Not a,
Good,
I
good.
have
That's
tried
all I
to.
wanted to know.
No, but you have to understand the backdrop.
Go ahead.
Norman, Francis was on Francis was doing his show. The audience were telling Francis, I mean, the thread was just running. Francis Apostle is asking to join. Apostle is trying to join. Francis, please let the apostle join. Francis, look, apostle saying he's ready. Francis, for the first time, became illiterate. He couldn't read the comments what you're saying. Look, the man is right here. You talk about the man is here saying, bring me on and tell the world what happened. To this day, Francis cannot respond to one request to join him live.
Well, a rumor
Because me, no man. Yeah, go ahead. What's the rumor?
a rumor has
Go ahead.
been spreading. But before I say the rumor, and then you will give you Anson, you give your closing remarks, and we call it a day because we're within the hour zone. And I really
Yeah.
appreciate that you took the time. I think we have, but look, when it comes to Jenna, I've known Jenna for more than 25 years. So I understand Jenna, right? When Jenna doesn't get his way with anything, Jenna attacks. Jenna went out there and said, I should never
Yep.
be an activist. I've been an activist for 30 years. Jenna, you know what Jenna said? I should never be an activist because I post nice women in skimpy clothes on my page, clothing on my page,
I
right? I
remember.
swear to you. You can ask Lincoln
I
Zephyr from
remember.
Linden,
I
the young
remember.
businessman, right? And you know why? Because Jenna tried to bully me into something that I didn't approve of, and I refused to answer him. I refused to entertain him, and he got upset to the point where I had to block him, and I unblock him because I'm not a malicious person, and I still gave him a platform, and I will continue now to give him a platform because I like Jenna,
Hmm.
and Jenna has something to say, and that's one point. But there's this issue that Jenna's, and that's why I wonder if Win did not give Jenna any justice because they felt that he was a rotten rope. Because Jenna came out against Win. You know what Jenna revealed
Of
on my
course he would.
program? You know what Jenna revealed on my program? And I didn't pick it up, but it's a very, very important point. And it's a point that shows the weakness of Win. And it tells a story about Win that can be far reaching and that can be developed into a more macro position of whether Win is
Hmm.
serious about leading the opposition. Jenna said,
Yeah.
there is no office existent of the leader of the opposition. There's no leader of the opposition office existing right now. And I'm
Nowhere.
asking
Correct.
myself this question, sir. If you are a multi-billionaire and you could give homes and houses and everything to everybody, right? You can afford a building, renting or building or buying almost overnight. If you care about this fight to preserve or to return democracy to Guyana and to seriously confront dictatorship in Guyana, why there is no office of the leader of the opposition? Some people said that, you can't expose the leader like that because people want to kill him and all them kinds of stuff. So if he has an office of the leader of the opposition where he is, I ask myself, what about the leader of the opposition is a constitutional position? You have state security, and you have enough money to have whatever security you wish to have. So that to me is no excuse. And Jenna said it. Jenna came out and he said, and I said to myself, maybe winners drop Jenna too. Maybe winners drop Jenna too. And so,
He's a candidate. He's a chairman of Region 3. He's a councillor of Region 3.
well, he's a win counselor. So if he's a
Democratic
win
Council,
counselor
RDC.
and he can come out and say, and it's the right thing he said. And when you look at age, and I
Yeah.
don't age discriminate, as I don't discriminate against anything, because that's not in my nature. But regardless of his age, when you come up, that is a serious undermining of the party you are part of. Because you are now telling an activist that is serious about changing Guyana that the leader of the opposition is not serious about the opposition. Because
But
anybody
Norman,
would tell you that if you are the opposition, you got to have an office.
Norman, the budget that was read and passed in February has within it funds for the running of the office of leader of the opposition.
Wow.
That is known. Asadin can choose any building of it he wants to. I think there is a building now, and his office is there.
Also, he has an
If
office.
there is
There's an
fair,
office of the leader of the
no, I'm
opposition
saying
now.
there is a place where because what's his name was in it? Norton.
No, 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 no. I understand that there's something that is available, but whether it is occupied under this present
Not
leadership.
it is not occupied. That's the point I'm making.
Thank
It's
you. Okay,
unoccupied.
okay, okay.
So the question then befalls that he has to answer is this: if he has concern for security, why is he seen when the children drown? He was seen in public.
No, he didn't say
When
that.
something happens to somebody, he
His
walks in
people,
public.
his supporters said that.
I
He's never
understand, but I'm
said
just saying
anything.
if they're right, I'm saying he should answer it. He should speak to it, as I would speak to anything people have said to me if it requires a response. But if you are going to be vested with constitutional power, you have to either use it or relinquish it. There's not a game we're playing here. And the power to lead the opposition is given to Asadin Mohammed at this time. It is constitutionally bestowed on him, and he has to either utilize it or he must relinquish that power. And a part of the functioning of the leader of the opposition is to have a space called an office
You have
that
to.
is paid for by me and other taxpayers in this country. That we pay him. The PP doesn't pay him. So if he's saying that he's going to use his salary that he receives to give to the poor, then it means that you have become a recipient of state funds. Even if you don't use it for yourself, you receive it. How do you receive state funds but not sit in a state office?
It is scandalous. It is scandalous, and it
Okay.
is unacceptable. Apostle, I once again want to thank you tremendously.
Thank you.
I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. There's no surprise in you turning up whenever you're called, even at the last. Sometimes I take advantage of you. I think because I can call you,
You do.
and you are a very serious person, and you've always bent over backwards, and I am forever grateful for that. My respect for you is paramount. It continues to grow, and I'm happy that I'm able to stand and speak. So the Guyanese world can understand that these things that people are saying behind your back and trying for it to gain traction to discredit you, that these fallacies are so ridiculous. They're so ridiculous that today anyone who watches this program would be convinced that they are indeed ridiculous. Your closing remarks.
I'm grateful, Norman, as always, to sit here with you and to share this moment with your audience. I would like to close by always encouraging Guyanese that together is our responsibility to create a world called Guyana, probably, that we would want to live in, or someone else shall create that world for us. Thus far, the PPP have been creating an environment that's unsafe, unfit, and quite unhealthy for us to thrive in as Guyanese. We have to change that. And it begins with me and you. Thank you so much.
And thank you so much for being here. Until next time, I say to my viewers, stay the course. Thank you for supporting this platform. Thank you, Nigel London, leader of the People's Movement.